science. So it was something that fascinating and just concrete. Could get it. For Toxic Flora, my last book, I was very fascinated and fastened to science essays, mostly articles from the science section of the New York Times, and just keeping the engine going, just writing a lot of poetry routinely as I do. I would take one article and I'd just start scribbling and hopefully produce a poem. So that became Toxic Flora. After I finished that book, I just decided enough science. I'd spent almost 10 years writing those poems, mostly because it was so much fun and I didn't want to take stuff out because all the information was so interesting, but my friends kept telling me, I think you should trim that poem back, or I think you should just take that poem out. But the science was so much fun, I kept holding on to them. Anyway, so when you start telling yourself, well, maybe I shouldn't write that anymore, very often you kind of hit a block or rut or screen. So I thought, okay, I guess science is not finished with me. So I devised some assignments for myself, like I tell my students to do. And I I went back to the Science Times and I would take one article and then just write a bunch of poems from the one article. And I'd also give myself little assignments along the way. This is, and then I have a bunch of one-offs as well. So most of the poems in here were triggered by, they're not about neuroscience, but they were triggered by essays, most of them essays on neuroscience and cog-sci. A bowl of spaghetti. To find a connectome or the mental makeup of a person, researchers experimented with the neurons of a worm, then upgraded to mouse, hoping to unravel the millions of miles of wires in the human brain that they liken to untangling a bowl of spaghetti, of which I have an old photo. Ray in her high chair, intently picking out each strand to mash in her mouth. Was she two? Was that sailor dress from Mother? Did I cook that sauce from scratch? If so, there was a carrot in the pot, as Mother instructed, and I'll never forget, no matter which strand determines ardor as a daughter's verdict. One of the first sequences that I wrote had to do with dream theory. And so, as I said, I made up little assignments for myself. For this sequence, let's see, I think they had to be under 20 lines, and I would take an object and just free associate. They also, let's see, had to repeat a word or phrase. Is that what I did here? Yes. And also include usually a quote from this article. Great article by Benedict Carey on dream theory. The dream of a little occupied Japan doll. Among the 100 porcelain figurines, the first one with slanted eyes, fat cheeks, Q, though that's Chinese, and Chinese bonnet is my favorite. Among all those in pajamas or gowns or the two in kimono, the first is my favorite. Of those with rickshaw, tambourine, or parasol and fan, I keep on my desk the first one, though she, or he, is not doing a darn thing. Here in sleep, rivalry is reserved, and as dreams tune the mind for conscious awareness, perhaps this favoritism suggests I've quit hoarding and now collect myself. The dream of parsnips. I don't know if people eat parsnips that much. They do now, okay. Because we're back to root vegetables. That's true, okay. Yes, that's good. So you know that parsnips look like white carrots. Okay. Dream of parsnips. Do I wish for a box of cigars or dynamite? Do I wish for the sudden squirming of earthworms? Do I wish for the dense smell in Grandma Ida's dining room or some prefix? Do I wish for the standing outside his lit office window at 2 a.m, as only a sophomore can stand? Or for the husband to scrap the skank? Or perhaps for the researcher herself who believes dreaming is not a parallel state, but consciousness itself in the absence of the senses' input? Considering various explanatory projects, I do wish that wishing would process whatever calls up an object so white and duplicitous. So, also, I'm very interested in lists. And actually, I think a lot of poems have a list structure. If you look at it, and I did this, as I said, using this sequence, using little phrases or words that I'd repeat. So that in itself, that kind of repetition would encourage a kind of a list, and also would encourage a lot of free association with words. The dream of a pillow. Zealous mother or breast, zealous marshmallow, zealous feathers. Although the neuroscientist does not declare, so what? She does believe the brain observes prop and scene in a lucid watchfulness, which may play out in proverb or verse or be utterly meaningless. Zealous codeine, zealous noose. A couple more of these dream sequence poems. This one, just in case you don't know, in P.T. Barnum's museum, he had what he called the Fiji mermaid. It's a desiccated, it was actually a desiccated monkey with, I guess half a monkey with a desiccated fishtail sewn to it. So it looked like a desiccated mermaid. And that's what he showed to, 15,000 people a day. I read on Wikipedia this afternoon. The dream of a letter opener in the shape of a mermaid. Tell me which ocean is warmest. Tell me which shore is closest. Tell me which ship tosses trash and which plays a waltz, and how many bottles you've collected containing messages from shipwrecks. Is this figure playing in my mind an unconscious desire or archetypal theme, or are these explanations merely predetermined ideas, assumptions made theory? Not wishing to jam the round peg in that square, I also don't wish to submit to gastrointestinal or neurological pleasures. Tell me about the sister in a glass case, a monkey's body glued to that of a fish. I believe that we have what I've started calling, after reading a memoir, but never mind, identity themes. So themes that we just, they're attached to us, we're attached to them, and mine are pretty much jealousy, envy, and betrayal. So, there you go, see? Fans. And so, actually, and I know that there's jealousy, envy, and betrayal in this, in various ways, but this afternoon when I was figuring out what I wanted to read, when I read the word rivalry, I realized, there it goes, there it goes. The dream of knife, fork, and spoon. There's a chair up here. I'm not going to be sitting there. The dream of knife, fork, and spoon. I can't recall where to set the knife and spoon. I can't recall which side to place the napkin, or which bread plate belongs to me, or how to engage in benign chatter. I can't recall when more than one fork, which to use first, or what to make of a bowl of water. I can't see the place cards or recall any names. The humiliation is impressive, the scorn. No matter how much my brain revises the dinner to see if the host was a family member, I can't recall which dish ran away with which spoon.